This is the mount position. In a tournament, you're going to get 4 points for this position, which is both of my knees are on the ground and I'm sitting on James's belt. My preferred position whenever I go to mount is to have here, and I'm pushing these hands into his neck. I teach this to the kids, to the adults, to self-defense. If I'm having all of my weight pushing through these hands, it's pretty tough for James to do anything except move to his side or to his belly, which is what I would want him to do. It's easier to attack if he's on his side or his belly than if he is here, able to defend chokes, arm bars, makes it really difficult. This is an extremely dominant position. Everyone should strive to stay in this position and also strive to escape from this position. So what it looks like from the side is I just have both knees. I'm here and I have both of my hands pushed into his neck. So you see my butt come off of his waist a little bit, and I'm pushing into his position. The other mount position is going to be a technical mount where I have one leg up and my knee pinched where my heel is. So it makes it difficult for James to roll backwards, so he can't shrimp away very well. So as long as I'm in this position, it's called a technical mount. I want an underhook, and I want a seat belt that allows me access to chokes, allows me access to the back. Really important in our system of jiu-jitsu. So what that looks like from this side also is I'm in the mount, and I make him look at that side, and I've pinched that knee on the other side. My ankle is along that same latitude. I go underhook and head control, and then I can bring my knee a little higher. Just a technical mount position. Lots of attacks happen from this. The last mount position is going to be an S mount position. James hates this position. It's where I bring one knee really high and I fold my arm underneath. So I'm here, I bring one knee high and I fold my leg underneath. So I've squeezed him in this position. My body is kind of in what an S looks like. In this position, I want to keep both of these arms and lean. So I'm holding him tightly and I'm leaning towards his belly. It puts a lot of pressure on his sternum. The higher I can get with this leg, the worse it is for him, and it allows me to hit different silly arm locks from here as well. S mount. So what that looks like from the side is I'm here, I've pushed my leg up, and my knee is super high on his head as well. I have an underhook on both arms, and I lean towards his legs, which allows the freedom for my other leg to pass over for arm bars. All right, this next position is side control. In side control, I want to make sure that I have my knee pushed to his hip and my opposite knee in his armpit or at the shoulder level. I will always have an underhook and usually have head control here or a shoulder pressure. So what that looks like is just here, shoulder pressure and underhook. Make sure that I don't have my hands pushing on the floor. This will make you push away. Turn your hands to you, and that way you're able to push your chest down instead of forward over the top. So we're going to turn here. I'm going to show you. I just have my knee here and my knee here. One detail I didn't show on this is I'm going to get on my toes. So I go for my underhook and my shoulder pressure, and instead of being flat on my feet, I'm going to push my toes on the floor. Do not have your knees together. Open your legs and sink your butt down and try to keep your big toes on the mat. This allows you to keep a balance instead of just being easily rolled over. I want to make sure that my hands are up facing me and my shoulder is what's pushing forward, not my body pushing over. If I'm too far over the top here, James has good posture. He will put his hands inside and just do an easy setup here, and it rolls me right over the top. And then you feel really stupid. So make sure that our toes are on the mat. We're pressing down, and it's just my shoulder that's doing that work. Turn here again. So whenever I have that shoulder pressure, I have my hands up, my toes are on the floor, and I'm just moving the shoulder joint. I can definitely make him look that way, but watch what my shoulder does here. I want it at the jawline. If I push forward with my legs, it goes all the way up to his eye. I want to just move the shoulder joint. That is what the maximum amount of pressure is going to allow. So in bottom side control, I don't want to be caught with my arm on the outside of his head. This will allow James to set up certain submissions that we'll go over shortly. I want to have my hand on the inside here. One mistake I see beginners often do is they will raise their arm here. James puts his head down, and now I'm fighting a choke. So what I want to end up doing here is keeping my elbow tight and swinging my arm out. If he has his head down, then I'm going to make it uncomfortable for his face with the blade of my forearm. So keeping your elbow tight, and my other arm is here on the inside. I want to hold his shoulder like it's a football. Don't grab and be married to it. Just hold it like it's a quarterback dropping back in the pocket. This is a good side control position to be in. That way you have him on a shelf, and that you're able to use a frame in order to start to shrimp away and put the bottom knee inside. So just a good position from bottom side control is to make sure that your elbow stays inside. I bring my arm to his neck. My other arm comes inside to that shoulder, just like I'm a lefty quarterback dropping back in the pocket. This next position is back control. There's not a whole lot of other names for it. I might call you a backpack if you're here, but it's just back control. I have an underhook, and my choke arm is over the shoulder. I stab and I grab. I don't just grab the hand, I grab up as high on my arm as I can, and that cinches that seatbelt down on James. It also makes him fight less of the choke arm, which I'll show you here shortly. Whenever I'm in this position, I don't want to be out here. I call this the hey mom, because kids will be here and they'll look for mom. Hey mom, hey mom. I want to be down and tight to my opponent or partner. So make sure that we're here. I should be able to tell him a secret. Here, everybody's going to hear it. Here, it makes it way better for us. Okay. I have my hooks in. Not one. This is not back control. You will not get points for this position. You have to have 2 hooks in. I stab. I grab. Oh, look, there's a heart right there too. That's nice. I stab and I grab. Don't just grab the hilt. Grab a little higher so it cinches it up. And remember, we're not saying hi to mom out here. We're going to get nice and tight and tell them a secret. This is basic back control. You can switch this back control up to a body lock position. In tournaments, you most likely will not receive points. But I'm just going to take one side of my legs, roll to that side, and now I triangle it or figure 4 over the top. This is terrible for James. So it's a pretty simple thing. I'm going from inside his legs with 2 hooks to switching my leg. If I need to grab it, I can. And then I'll switch there and I start squeezing the crap out of his ribcage and guts. So now I'm here in back control. My basic back control position, I want to start defending the most important thing, which is going to be this choke arm. It's super important to not fight this arm, because once I pull this arm off, his hand comes up and it starts to finish me. So the thing that we fight here is this choke hand first, okay? Super, super important. If he has already gotten tighter up and he's gone to this choke position, you need to immediately start to fight this choke arm. If you fail to fight this choke arm, James will happily go to finish the choke, and you pay the price. Basic back control position. Just make sure that we're holding on to this choke arm, and then also to defend, we're going to roll to the choke arm side. So it's pointing the way out for me. This way is worse. This way is the way I need to go. It's away from the choke. This way is into the choke. So I want to make sure I'm defending the choke here, and I lay on that weak side. Basic back control position. So just like close guard, we have an open guard position, which just means that my legs are not closed around him here. Closed guard. When he stands, we can now open our guard. Most open guards will be with 1 foot on the hip. I like to have 2 sleeves. You can also go cross collar or cross sleeve, same side collar. This is just an open guard position. So in the open guard position here, I don't want to catch myself over the top of my partner or my opponent. James here would just elevate me and sweep me over the top. So if you scoot a little bit this way, we can show how that works. So if I'm here and I decide to go over the top, James is going to push and sweep me very simply over the top. In order to avoid that, instead of pushing forward here, I'm going to take one of my legs inside and blade the other one back. This will avoid me being too far over the top or loading my weight over him, which gives him the easy sweep. So it looks from this side. Instead of loading over the top, I bring one knee inside and I blade the other leg out. All right, y'all, this is the closed guard position. Closed guard, anything with my guard has to do with my legs. Here, my legs are wrapped around James's waist and they are closed together. Whenever I'm in the closed guard, we can do a number of grips. So if we'll turn this way just a little bit, please. Back up that way. There we go. Most common grip that I'll have is a cross collar grip and the same side sleeve. You can switch these grips. You can go double sleeve or 2 hands on one. Closed guard. This is closed guard from the top side. My most common grips here would be to leash trap one of his arms and my opposite hand on the same side collar. It's okay to cross collar here, but you're in danger of getting submitted. So I always go same side position. Closed guard from top. Turn a little. James has got his closed guard locked. I have one hand across on his here, and then the other hand on the same side collar. Closed guard. This position here is called half guard. Half guard is when I no longer have James's waist wrapped around with both of my legs. I only have one of his legs wrapped with my bottom leg and triangled or figured forward over the top. Most common grip that I'll use here is an under hook. Switch this way. So now you can see one leg in between his legs wrapped, figure forward, and I have an underhook position to the belt. Turn, turn, turn. Here on my hip, underhook, one leg wrapped with my 2. This is top side half guard, where James has my half guard, has one of my legs, and I am now on top. In this position, the most common thing for the person on top is to go across face with my arm and an underhook with the opposite. So what that looks like is an underhook here and a cross face. So if I go down to this position, here we are, and I turn my hip in. Turn a little. He's got that one leg. I have the underhook, and I have a cross face. The objective of this position is to put James's shoulders on the back, or excuse me, on the mat. So I shoulder pressure him, underhook, bring my hip in, and now I have a good smash position.